Hey, big hello and welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Oz Music Podcast, episode number 14. And once again, I am your host for the show, Damien V. Well, on this week's episode, our feature interview is with the incredible Queensland singer-songwriter, Marty Wilson. We had a great laugh and it was a lot of fun, and I will spin up the interview a little later on in the show, so be sure you do not miss out on that one. Anyway, on this week's episode, we have lined you up another great bunch of Aussie bands and artists, including the amazing ALPHAMAMA, Chalk, Dave the Band, The No, and that is just to name a few. Of course, this episode is proudly sponsored by the crew over at Artie's Music. Okay, so kicking off the show for tonight out of Tassie, this is Chase City with Back in Motion.
Bring it to your knees. Well, I
And that was Chase City with their latest smash single, Back in Motion. That is a spectacular track to kick off the show, and I'm loving the electronic path the band are moving into. Well known as Tasmania's hardest working dance starters, they dropped the track we just played to finish out the year. Following on from where the last single Temptation left off, with heavy synths and catchy vocals, they are wrapping up the year with shows supporting Lime Cordial alongside a headlining show in Melbourne. Putting down their guitars for this particular track, they picked up Malcolm Besley from Northeast Party House to mix the track, bringing his explosive dance-inducing choruses to the mix, and they were over the moon to be taking more of an electronic approach with this one. As I mentioned, they do have a few upcoming shows for the Back in Motion tour. We have Thursday, November the 28th at the Unibar in Hobart, Friday, November the 29th, Saloon Bar, Launceston, and Saturday, December the 14th, Yaya's in Melbourne, Victoria. Of course, they do have the usual Facebook, Insta, etc., so just head on over there for any more info. Okay, rolling on tonight. Next up, this is ALPHAMAMA.
Destroy yourself slowly. Sugar and sex, you can't avoid it. Don't make a mess of your makeup. You care about your makeup. I wish you could wake up to me. You don't care for me. I want someone give me what I need. 'Cause I can't stay in the middle anymore. One foot in and out the door. I've been waiting a long time now for someone to hold me down. Even when I wanna give up, throw it all away. Remember to be tender with yourself. Remember to surrender to yourself. Hold the woman and the little girl. It's okay to be held. Remember to be tender. Remember to be tender. No one can save you. No one will come. Jesus and Satan won't save you from yourself. You don't care for me. I want someone give me what I need. 'Cause I can't stay in the middle anymore. One foot in and out the door. I've been waiting a long time now for someone to hold me down. Even when I wanna give up, throw it all away. Remember to be tender with yourself. Remember to surrender to yourself. Hold the woman and the little girl. It's okay to be held. Remember to be tender. Remember to be tender. Remember to be tender.
So chill, smooth as silk vocals, and such a brilliant production. It really captures that 90s R&B vibe perfectly. That was ALPHAMAMA with her brand new single, Remember. Well, part one of a two-track EP, Remember, is a mood journey through musical styles and emotional states. And it's a sentiment that is equally being captured in the singles music video, which shows a compilation of ALPHAMAMA's community sharing their softness through personal self-love practices. With a formidable repertoire of talent and unrivaled versatility, she has become an asset to the industry and to the Australian hip-hop scene. In celebration of Remember's release, ALPHAMAMA has announced a string of intimate self-love ceremonies across the country. Appearing in Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane and Perth throughout January, the Remember Tour will cross beyond the boundary of musical performance to create an intimate and fully immersive art ritual experience. For details and tickets for her upcoming tour, just head on over to her social pages. Okay, moving on. Next up tonight, this is Rubita with Take Me From Here.
Take me from here. I don't know where I'm going. You lead the way. Take me from here. I haven't done this before. Just show me how to get through. Take me from here. I feel alone inside, with a mask on the outside. Take me from here. I carry my body, but you carry my heart, the heaviest part. Take me from here, wherever here may be, wherever you're near. Let's go there, yeah. Let's go there. Take me from here.
That was Rubita with her latest single, Take Me From Here. I love that jazz groove, and the sweet dreamy melodies just melted me back into my chair. Kind of reminds me a little bit of the track Blue Moon. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but anyway. In the 3 years since the release of her warmly received EP, Rabida returned with her second single we just played, Take Me From Here. And as you heard, it is a sugar-coated gem that just pops with soft melodies, silky bass lines, and those creamy guitar chords. Her interest in the guitar was sparked when she watched the scene in Back to the Future, where Marty McFly blows everyone away with his guitar playing. Yes, I think I remember that one too. I think it was a Chuck Berry song from memory. Interestingly, he actually learnt the chords in sequence, so it looked like he was actually playing the music. Though they did make a bit of a mistake. They played with a Gibson, I think it was an EB45 or something. But anyway, that hadn't actually been released till 1958. So they blew it on that one. Sorry, guys. Anyway, for the last 3 years, years, she has been touring and working on her debut album, Distinctive Thrill, which is due for release very soon. So be sure you keep your eyes open for that one. And she does have an upcoming show at 9 p.m, 12th of December, Moon Bar, Wellington. That is $10 entry. And there is the usual socials, the Facebook, the Insta, etc. So click on over and say hello, and don't forget to hit on that follow button. Well, folks, it is that time of the show for this week's interview, and earlier on I had a lovely chat with the very talented singer-songwriter Marty Wilson, and we really did have a good laugh. So without further delay, here is our chat.
Hello.
Hi there, Marty. It's Damien here from Oz Music Podcast. How are you going?
Yeah, not pretty good. How are you going?
Very well. Welcome to the show, and I hope I'm not dragging you away from anything too pressing on your weekend.
Well, I was actually just staring at a bee eating this pollen on a flower. So,
Okay.
I mean, you could have caught me at a better time, but
Yeah.
no, not too pressing.
That's a classic. Well, we are taking you out from time on the road. I do believe you did a gig at Melbourne on the weekend. Is that right?
Yeah, I did. I played a couple. One was on Thursday night at Wesleyan, and then Friday at the Noodle Markets in Melbourne, which is great.
Okay. Yeah. What's that all about? The markets there. It looks pretty good, actually.
Yeah, well, I was talking to a couple of people about it, and they said, "What is this thing that you're playing at?" And they do them in Brisbane as well, but it's pretty much just this huge market style setup with lots of noodles and dumplings and live music as well. So it was massive. I loved it.
Sounds incredible. Are you still in Melbourne, or are you on the road, or have you made it home yet?
I'm on the Great Ocean Road at the moment, so just in Lorne.
Okay. I haven't actually been to Lorne. It sounds like a great place. I think the furthest I've gone on the Great Ocean Road, probably Torquay, Bells Beach, that sort of thing. Sounds like you're doing a lot of touring. You went from all the way to Melbourne to Brisbane on this current tour.
Yeah.
Must be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's good fun. I like the driving side of it.
Yeah, well, it definitely seems like it is something in your lifestyle that you've put into your music and clips. There's a great couple of clips up online on YouTube which feature that sort of outdoorsy freedom vibe about it. That's really cool clips.
Yeah, it's a good time to write songs as well, because it's easier to write about those kind of things when you feel really connected with it at the time, I think.
Yeah, definitely. So your new single, Don't Stop, very clever track. I love it. It is so catchy. I've had it on repeat all morning. And and I reckon it'd be pretty relatable to many people. Can you tell us a little about what the song's about, the message behind the song?
Yeah, so I mean, I just noticed that I personally had been in quite a few situations where you kind of can see things unraveling in a not the best way, and sort of at parties, or if it's at a friend's party, or just out on the town or whatever, and just sort of that feeling of not really knowing exactly what to do sometimes. And you've maybe got that one mate who seems to be taking things too far, sort of on the regular. It's it can be a bit of a confronting situation. So I didn't really write the song to say, to tell people what to do exactly. It was more just like a
observation, maybe.
Observational, observational track about, and a few people have said, I can definitely relate, and I've had that same kind of, that one mate who always takes it too far.
Yeah, I think we all have one or two of those, and maybe I've been that mate on occasions, but
exactly.
Anyway, yeah. So no, it's a wonderful track, and you've got a lot of samples with those talking and sirens and bottle caps, and what was the idea behind all that? Just to give it a bit of life type thing of what you're singing about, or where did that idea come about?
Well, I really wanted to kind of do a track with a few different sound effects, and I was talking to Brad, Brad Hosking, who was producing the track, and he's doing the album as well. And I sort of said, how do we work this in? And he just said, let's take a bunch of samples and just chuck them all in, and then start pairing it back till we get the right mix. So, like the babbling, the drunken babbling, that was actually at my cousin's house party. I recorded some of that. So I think it was cool for me to have that material relevance in there. And
How do they feel about it?
I
They're a
think
bit surprised.
they
It's
were
like,
super excited.
you've been recording this for years.
Yeah. Just
Classic.
stockpiling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that is hilarious. And Brad Hosking, did you say that name
Yeah.
is familiar? I saw it was recorded at Blind Boy Studios, so he must be. How did that come about anyway with Brad?
I was actually playing at a competition last year, Buskers by the Creek, and it was the Battle of the Buskers competition there, where Tones and I took out the win. And I was chatting to one of the judges, and he said, "You should really get in touch with this guy, Brad Hosking. He records on the Gold Coast." And so I just saw it as a bit of a sign, and we got in touch and hit it off. And yeah, since then we've been sort of working on the album, and he's been so good to work with.
Yeah, it's always good to work with such quality producers, and Brad definitely knows what he's doing. I was trying to work out where you were based, whether it was Gold Coast or the Brisbane. Is it the Brisbane area?
Yeah, I'm based in Brisbane, but I'm sort of on the road all the time, and I love to go camping. So it's sort of in between homes for me, but it is on the Gold Coast. It's yeah, sort of in the middle of Brisbane and northern New South Wales.
Okay, I see you've been at it for a while. There's quite a few clips on YouTube with you playing. It looks like sort of in a bit of a home studio. Do you write them in a bit of a home studio? Do you have a home studio that you sort of get the scratch tracks down in? And if you do, what sort of gear do you use and that sort of
Oh,
stuff?
I have no real knowledge when it comes to recording anything. So I mean, I'll usually be doing it in the strangest way, and someone will say to me later, like, "Oh, that was not the way you should have done it." But I'll just sort of record it on my phone, or you know, take a film and then upload it. But some of those YouTube ones are pretty old. But a few people have said maybe you should maybe you should delete them because it's not really how you sound now. But I like to look at the journey.
Yeah, I totally agree, to be honest. It gives people an opportunity to see how you've grown and evolved as an artist. Another thing I wanted to quickly speak about was the artwork for the song Don't Stop and Holly Nielsen and how that came about. The imagery really suits the songs.
Yeah. So she's a friend of a friend, and I just saw her artwork and thought it would be so good to, collaborate with another artist and get her on board with the project of the whole album, and just creating something special for each single, because a lot of the time I feel like the artwork is a bit of a afterthought, but I really wanted to sort of tie it in with the whole song, and make sure that it was relevant to the song, which I think she's done so well. Like, I love what she's doing.
Yeah, she's done a fantastic job and definitely complements the track perfectly. It is your second drop from the album. The first one was Astronaut, which is a beautiful song.
Thank you.
And I believe she did the artwork on that as well.
Yeah, she did.
Oh, very cool. Well, as I said, it is an incredible song. Lyrically, it seems to have a bit of an acceptance theme. Would I be correct? Maybe tell the listeners what that one's about.
So that song, I was sort of writing it. I felt a bit like I could be a bit of an alien sometimes, or just felt like a bit of an alien when it came to relationships, whether it was friendships or just in the way of searching for like deep connections, which I hadn't known how to convey it really. So in that song, that was sort of what I was talking about. And since writing it, though, I've had so many people say that they feel the same way, and this sort of feeling of not exactly being able to communicate what you're after, and it's a bit alienating, but
Yeah.
it's sort of accepting that part of you and finding your fellow aliens, I guess.
And they're out there. That's right. That's the message, isn't it?
Exactly.
Just wait for yourself and they'll find you.
Yeah. I was surprised to find those people just as weird as me, but yeah,
It's amazing, isn't it? And as we're mentioning, you do have a lot of YouTube clips on there, young and old. One of them I noticed, Landslide. That was last year, wasn't it? That's a great clip. And where was that shot? Unless it's some secret camping location you don't want to tell the listeners about.
I mean, yeah, I'll tell you. I mean, it's a little bit of a secret, but it's kind of hard to get to. So it was on Mount Me that we filmed that, and it's just been a favourite spot for so long because. You can just unpack and go swimming and have a great time. And that song was really just about, getting caught up in the landslide of falling in love with someone. But we just thought, good excuse to go camping for the weekend and sort of film a music video.
Yeah. Well, the video has turned out perfectly. It's really captured that chill vibe. I watched your other video on the snow as well. I recently did a trip over New Zealand for a bit of a snowboarding trip.
Oh, yeah.
Where was yours shot? Was that local, Threadbow, or?
No, that was actually when I was in the States. I filmed bits and pieces of it everywhere, sort of a bit in Utah and a bit in Montana where I was based. So, yeah, I just decided to kind of put a bunch of clips that I'd taken together. And, yeah, I love how that one turned out. It was just very much
so much fun.
Travel montage. Yeah, exactly.
So, are you a bit of a skier or snowboarder?
No, I do it but not well. I fall a lot and just like to collect bruises. And I'm more about the post ski drinks.
Oh yeah. Maybe the toboggan. On that, they're probably more dangerous. Those things, they're crazy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, my word. So, and also, obviously, I've done a huge stalk on your YouTubes, but you had a couple of covers there. The cherry wine one, that's beautifully done. That I've noticed actually, just getting to watching your evolution. You are not just a singer; you do play instruments as well, mainly guitar. I can see there, and you've definitely got a bit of a finger picking style. Sort of, is that something that you started with? When did you first start playing guitar?
Oh gosh, I think I was probably pretty young. We always had a guitar in the house, but I just kind of mucked around with it. I never sort of knew how to play it properly, and I started getting lessons for guitar in year 11, and did that for about a year, and then or maybe two, and yeah, I don't read music, so we would just sort of play, and my teacher was great. He would just sort of say, yeah, you do you, like, and I definitely had this sort of finger picking style, and he was like, well, if it's not broken, don't fix it. So we just had fun kind of jamming together and developing a way of playing that was sort of unique, which I think that came from not reading music and just sort of doing it intuitively, but
not locked in the box as such.
Yeah, but one day I'd love to learn.
Yeah, and the capo features quite heavily. Is that something you do for vocally or just to suit the songs, or?
Yeah, I mean, I just experiment with it. It's really just, there's no method to the madness. I just play around, and sometimes I'm feeling like having the capo really high, and other times I take it off, but yeah, it's pretty random.
Okay, yeah, I know a lot of people just prefer to do that for a vocal key thing so that they can sing whatever they're doing to match their vocals or such, but yeah.
That's probably what it is, actually. But
probably just subconsciously, yeah.
Yeah,
as you said, without sort of knowing. And you do play a bit of the electric and the acoustic, and which one do you prefer?
Well, I've got to say I do like acoustic a lot because of the different sounds you can get from the body and stuff, particularly playing sort of percussively on it. Because I started out with the drums, and that comes into it a bit more now, the more percussive stuff. But I do love the electric because it just gives a whole different mood to a song. So it's hard to pick.
Sorry?
It's hard to pick a favorite.
Yeah, it's like trying to pick a favourite child. Oh, that would be the youngest one. No, but so what have you got in the collection? Have you got a couple there? So.
Guitars, yeah. It's I think I've got 10, which, yeah, I probably need to sell one or two or three or
no,
five.
not necessarily. I'm a guitar player, so yeah, you're barking up the wrong tree there. I don't think selling. Yeah, you can get a use for it on something, surely, you know.
Well, you get so attached to them, and then you just don't want to let go. You're like, well, this one I played at that gig with it, and it's got that memory.
Exactly. No, they do become a part of you, I think. You put your blood, sweat and tears into them, and they definitely do.
Yeah.
So after you said you started initially sort of belting around in the bedroom there, where was your first gig? How did your first gig ever happen, and where was it, and what was that all like?
The first
daunting,
gig.
No doubt.
I think that the one that I remember feeling like a first gig, because I played in sort of cafe, like a bar or something, but it didn't feel very official. But I played in the Valley for my first proper gig at Capulet, and that's in Brisbane. And yeah, I was so nervous. They said, can you play for an hour and a half. And at the time, I was like, yeah, sure. And I didn't know an hour and a half worth of songs, and I just thought I just want to do it, and completely winged it. And I was so nervous, like a bit of a wreck, but got
Yeah,
through it. And
play a couple of songs over and over. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. That's what I did, and surprisingly, they wanted me to come back, and it's crazy to look back because now, I just think it's so funny that I didn't even know an hour and a half of songs, but I just went, oh well, hope for the best, and
You've got to do it, and it's not surprising at all. You're extremely talented, so yeah, you deserved it. So,
oh, thank
and
you.
I saw you've just recently done Australian Music Week down in Sydney at Cronulla. That must have been pretty exciting.
Yeah, that was great fun. It was such a good weekend and well week, I guess. It was a long week and lots of late nights, but it was so much fun to just meet so many musos and go to the keynotes and things like that.
Yeah. So, did you go and watch a few other artists play as well? As obviously you played there yourself, but so you got to meet a few other sort of industry people, I assume.
Yeah, and it was kind of a nice organic way of connecting with people, just being out watching other musos play, and then you'd run into someone you'd seen in a talk that day, and yeah, it was just a really great vibe the whole week. It was lovely. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you've been very busy. It looks like you don't have too much time spare in between shows. You must be doing, what, 3 or 4 a week by the looks, almost.
Yeah, it's been pretty busy, but this week I've got a bit of time off.
Yeah, well, it's worked out perfect. It's given us a chance to have a bit of a chat. I see here also you've played at the Newstead Roots Festival. Whereabouts is that one? What's that about?
So that's in Brisbane, in Newstead, and
Okay.
yeah, that was really good fun. They had this stage sort of out on the water, and on the river there, and it was a pretty windy day, so I was worried I might get a bit motion sick from the stage lurching around, and
Wow.
my hair was flying all over the place. But it was just one of those really fun gigs where everyone's a bit caught out in the wind and the rain, so everyone lets their hair down a bit, and it was really good fun. Such a good vibe.
Yeah, wow, that sounds incredible. Have you had any favourites so far? Any favourite shows that have stood out for you at all? Or
Oh, that's hard. I think I really enjoyed the noodle markets. That was good fun. Just so many people to sort of play to, which was nice. And then also Australian Music Week was just such a highlight, and you know, great to have the opportunity to play there. Yeah, I was really happy about that.
yeah, I can imagine. It would have been just absolutely incredible. Just soaking up all the atmosphere, the vibe of the whole place with all the industry people and the fans and the artists. It would have been great. Look, we did brush on your covers just a little earlier, and I can see your influences, maybe in the early days anyway, had a bit of a folk influence. And
Yeah.
yeah, well, what are your influences? What, not necessarily what do you put into your influence into your music, but what's, say, on your Spotify playlist?
Oh, well, I love Kim Churchill. He's one of my favorites, and also just to watch his sort of journey, and I feel like he has a good philosophy about music, and just a good life philosophy, which I really look up to. But also musos that I like to listen to. I really like Dodie, who's from the UK, and Alex the Astronaut, Alex Leahy. Yeah, a lot of Australian female artists I sort of been listening to lately. But I mean, it's pretty varied. If someone shows me a band, I will more than likely be a fan pretty quickly.
Yeah, classic. Sounds a little bit like me. I will definitely check out those bands and have a listen to those ones you mentioned after the show. But I thought you might be able to tell the listeners a little bit about your writing process. You mentioned earlier about how you move the capo a little bit over the guitar. But how does something come from an idea to get into the studio to where you are now with the song Don't Stop?
Yeah, well, usually it'll start with an idea of what I want the song to be about, and I find it writing really a tricky thing. I can't force it. I sort of have to just wait till I'm in the right spot and sit down with the guitar, and usually my favorite songs will just come to me really quickly, and then I'll quickly record them before I forget what I've done and play it, for a few months to get used to it, and then with the last couple of songs, just taking them to to Brad and said, "What do you think?" And if he says, "Yeah, I reckon we can do something cool with that," then we record it and it gets put out there. So there's some that haven't made the cut and some that are still in the works for the full album. But I'm really excited about them because it's been a long time coming, and they're all like little children.
Yeah, definitely. So this is the second release we mentioned off the upcoming EP. Do you plan to do another release before you drop the full EP?
Yeah, I think there will be one more single release before the album comes out, and then hopefully another tour, like an album tour.
Right. What's do you have a release date for the album yet?
Not yet, but I like to keep it pretty open because we haven't quite finished recording it yet, so we'll play it by ear.
Yeah, haven't got any like sneaky news
Sometimes.
for us yet. Yeah, have you
Yeah.
thought about the title, or you're worrying about that down the track?
Yeah, that's the same.
Yeah.
See how it goes.
Yeah, no, that's good. It's good to see the ball is absolutely rolling for you. You're just killing it out there. It's so good to
Thank
see.
you.
No, it's really good. And great songs, I guess that's why, and you seem like a lovely person and have your heart in the right place, and that's always, half the battle, isn't it, really? So,
Yeah, and especially in the industry, it's tricky to find those people that you really connect with, and make sure that you are in it for the right reasons and you connect with people that are the same. So that's really important to me, I think.
yeah, well, you seem that you've hooked up with a good team, good management and that stuff, and they're definitely
Yeah.
getting you out there and pushing in the right direction, and that's what we want to see. We want to see you out
Well,
there.
yeah.
So,
I'm actually I'm self-managed, but I have a PR team that does awesome things for me and like hooking up interviews and on awesome
Yeah.
podcasts. And
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Excellent. So no, it is good to have, and we've talked about it on quite a few episodes where management is becoming a lot in the artist's hands, but there are certain things you can only go so far. So it's good to have
By
that
yourself,
help.
yeah.
Yeah, and it takes a bit of
Exactly.
the pressure off and opens doors to a lot
Well, and
of
it
things.
leaves me time to do all the things like book shows and invoicing and those things that I have to do, and then it's just great to have people on the side helping with radio and just doing those things which I just don't have the connections for.
Yeah, and then hopefully leave some time for a bit of travelling and camping and stuff in between.
Exactly.
So, do you have any major goals? Where do you see yourself in 10 years? Like any festivals or any things that you want to tick off the box?
I mean, yeah, I'm a bit weird with goals. I don't tend to set them or have a place where I want to be because I like to think of it as just making decisions based on what feels really right at the time, and it'll take you where you're meant to be. And I know that probably sounds a little bit corny, but it's sort of I don't want to disappoint myself and have a goal, and if I don't reach it, then beat myself up over it. So I think for me, it's just. But I mean, there are festivals that I'd love to play at, but I mean, yeah, Splendor or Blues Fest. I played at Blues Fest in the busking tent this year, but it would be great to
At
play
Byron?
on a main stage one year. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great gig, isn't it? I saw you did is it the Jungle Bar as well down there? That's a good gig as well. That would have been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I played Jungle in Brisbane,
Yeah.
which it's so much fun. I love that place and great cocktails.
Yeah, yeah, there you go. A bit of a plug for the Jungle Bar. Hey, I see, with your tour, has that been something like a solo, you're headlining, are you supporting or having other support acts with you, or varied, I guess, at different gigs, or was there a set thing?
Mainly been solo, but I supported Pseudo Echo for one show.
Wow, sick.
And yeah, that was really fun. They're such nice people as well.
Yeah, that must have been amazing. Such a great experience, and I bet you had so much fun.
Yeah. So that was a fun one to have on the lineup. And apart from that, they've mainly just been just solo shows. So no other huge collabs. But I've met a lot of people. So hopefully next year I'll be doing a few more collabs and maybe even supports for other people or having support acts on my shows too.
Yeah, it's always good to collaborate and share a bit of the cost on the tours and that sort of thing as well, and all
Yeah,
the
yeah,
expense, help them lug gear. But
exactly.
yeah, and I was speaking of friends. On my stalk, I noticed you're friends with Benny Nelson that we had on last week. He,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, featured his latest track as well, and wow, he's got an incredible story too, doesn't he? With that hand injury thing that he had, that's
Yeah,
amazing. Yeah,
yeah.
poor guy. So.
I know. It was such a struggle for him, and thankfully he had good support to get him through all of that. But he is one of like the nicest people you'd ever meet, and yeah, I'm pretty stoked that we got to meet through our PR company, and we've just become great friends since then.
Okay, yeah, no, he does. He's got one of those faces you just look at and you can just see genuine written all over it type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and his music, great song too. That was another great song. But
Yeah.
so you are sort of winding up this single tour. You've got a few left. Where's your next shows? Do you have one coming up in I think it's the 29th, wasn't it, from memory?
Yeah, I think 29th in Tomakin is the next one, at a place called Smoky Dance, which is a little bit out of Sydney, maybe 5 hours or so.
Okay.
So, but it's a little coastal town, so that should be good fun. And then after that, I've just got a bit of a packed weekend heading back to Brisbane. Well, I play on Wednesday in Coffs Harbour. Wednesday the 4th, and then Friday the 6th is at Miami Marquetta. Saturday the 7th is in Brisbane at the Boho Lux Markets, and then Sunday's at Jungle. So
Nice.
it's busy, but it'll be good.
Back for some more cocktails.
Exactly. Get those
Yeah. Is it no accident that you finishing up on that one?
Yeah, actually, that was sort of a last minute addition, and I thought, oh, that'd be fun to kind of celebrate coming home with a couple of pina coladas.
Yeah, gee, that worked out well, didn't it? Yeah, classic.
Yeah, I know. Weird.
So, as I mentioned about the YouTube channel, where else can the listeners find you and your music? Do you have Insta, Facey, Spotify, and Apple, all that sort of stuff? And
all the regular things. I post mainly on Insta, and then from that to Facebook. But yeah, it's Marty Wilson Music on Insta and Facebook and all of those things. And Marty is spelt like Mardi Gras, Mardi.
no, that's right. Well, look, we'll obviously put the link up as well on the
cool.
show description and that sort of thing. Look, I guess we'd better sort of wind things up. It's been a lot of fun. Thanks so much for finding the time to have a chat with me.
Yeah, great to chat to you.
Yeah, and I guess I should let you get on with your weekend. But we are going to play, as I said, the latest track, "Don't Stop," and it's a great track. Congratulations, and
Thank you.
You must be very, very proud. And hopefully, maybe down the track, we can, once you've done a couple of releases, maybe when the album comes out, we can have a bit of a chat in the future.
Yeah, sounds great.
Awesome. All right.
Love that.
Okay.
Great to talk to you.
Oh, thank you. And as I said, it's been great to talk to you, catch up all the news. So, and if you want to find Marty, as I said, we'll put the links up in the show description. But other than that, we're going to spin up your track.
Thanks.
Okay. All right. Bye for now.
See you next time. Bye.
Okay. Bye. Wow, that was great. What a lovely person. Thank you so much for the chat, Marty. And I do hope all the best for your upcoming gigs and shows. But listeners, did you notice she avoided telling us where that beautiful camping spot was? Very sneaky, very sneaky. Okay, let's spin up the latest track. This is Marty Wilson with "Don't Stop."
Again, and I don't know why. You snort another line and you say that it's fine. I feel like you could be right, so I sit back and I watch you get high as a kite. And you don't stop till you get enough, and you don't hold on to what you got. You don't stop another cap and you say that it's fine. Don't worry, sit back and relax, but I can't do that, no I can't do that when you're so fucked out of your head. Your eyes roll back and I'm looking at them like, what the hell are we gonna do? Should we call for help or let him ride it through? And I look around, no one knows, but some guy says take him out of his clothes. And you don't stop till you get enough, and you don't hold on to what you got. You don't stop till you feel the rush, even if it means you might just take too much. Don't stop till you get enough, and you don't hold on to what you got. You don't stop till you feel alive, even if it means you might just die. I wish I could see inside your mind. And I wish I could see things through your eyes. Is this the night when you spiral out of control? Is this the night when you go down that dark road? Is this the night when you spiral out of control? Is this the night when you go down that dark road? You don't stop till you get enough, and you don't hold on to what you got. You don't stop till you feel the rush, even if it means you might just take too much. Don't stop till you get enough, and you don't hold on to what you got. You don't stop till you feel alive, even if it means you might just die. Don't stop till you get enough, and you don't hold on to what you got. You don't stop till you feel alive, even if it means you might just die.
And with her latest track, that was Marty Wilson with Don't Stop. Such a well-written song, super catchy chorus, incredible mix, and I really love where that bridge takes a song to. It easily ticks all the boxes for me. Well, listeners, if you'd like to stay up to date with Marty's music, just head on over to the social pages that she mentioned during the chat. And of course, we will also drop the links on our Facebook page as well. Okay, well, we had better roll on with tonight's show. Next up, out of Sydney, this is The Know with Hurt Somebody.
Through a hubble, that's my trouble, it's a nervous thing. That's alright, I'm doing fine, it's 10 and now she's barely rumbling. Now the rain is getting heavy and she's rolling up, and the dimer, he's a joker with the one-way line. I know it might like hard, but if you whisper in the dark, I only hear one thing.
From Sydney's inner west, that was The No with their latest single, Hurt Somebody. Fantastic track, and good to see a band still having guitar solos in their songs. It definitely has a Black Keys sound about it, but I can also hear a bit of a Black Crowes vibe in there as well. Blending the old with the new with a bit of a modern fresh twist. Very well done, very well done. Well, the band actually formed back in 2017, and this 5-piece has you grooving with that blues-inspired track we just played. It is actually a throwback to the fast and loose rock songs of the 60s, and it was produced in Marrickville's Golden Retriever Studios. The band will be celebrating the release of their new single with a special support slot with British India at the Crowbar in Sydney on the 8th of November, followed by a gig at the Bridge Hotel on the 20th of December. Having already headlined and packed out some of Sydney's biggest and best with their tight and brazen rock sound, such as the Oxford Art Factory Main Room, the Lansdowne, the Vanguard and the Chippendale Hotel. Their upcoming shows to celebrate the release will only keep the ball rolling. And as usual, if you'd like to find out some more on the band, just scroll on over to their socials for any more info. Okay, next up tonight, out of Newcastle, this is Dave the Band with their latest single, Ultra Hard. Out of Newcastle, that was Dave the Band with their latest single, Ultra Hard. What a blistering track, and it has really grown on me over the past week. I can tell you they have definitely managed to capture the essence of their live sound just perfectly, and as you heard, the energy just flows so smoothly throughout the entire song. Interestingly, no one in the band is actually named Dave, but together they combine to be very Dave-like, like your mate Dave, a kind of reliable friend who's always there for you but doesn't indulge in any of your shit. With a reputation for an emotional live show, Dave the band's style of upfront performance is engaging and infectious. After a string of EP releases, the band are set to release their long-awaited debut album titled Slob Stories. Hopefully that will drop mid-2020, so keep your eye out for that one. And no strangers to the road, Dave and the band have hit the stage with some of their biggest influences such as You Am I, British India, Dune Rats, The Heartaches, Bootleg Rascals, as well as playing show-stopping festival sets. They do have a load of upcoming shows in New South Wales and Victoria, spanning November through to January, and they also have the usual social links, Facebook, Insta, Unearthed, etc. So just click on over there to find a show near you. Well, folks, I do believe, unfortunately, we have arrived to the end of this week's show. So before we roll into our final track, it is that time to quickly do the usual shout-outs. So firstly, a huge thank you to all of you bands and artist labels for sharing your music with us. A big thank you to Matt and the crew over at Artie's Music for their valued support. They do have retail stores in Brisbane and Townsville, or just head over to artiesmusic.com.au 24 hours a day. And finally, last but certainly not least, I definitely cannot forget you, our loyal listeners, hanging around with me until the end of the show every week. I really do appreciate it. And if you would like to listen to any of the past episodes, read past show notes, or find details on any of the previously featured artists, just head on over to our website at ozmusicpodcast.com. Okay, our final act featuring on tonight's show, hailing from Brisbane, is the band Chalk. And the track we're going to spin up is actually one of the earliest songs that they composed, claiming it was written in the time it took to sing it. And it comes from the early days of the band back in the early 1990s. And the song has been reworked for this new album with a completely new chorus, and now the band finally have a chorus that fits like a glove with the original verse. Becoming a favourite of the exploding Brisbane music scene back in the early days, Chalk released a string of singles and EPs, and they played in Brisbane constantly. They did some festivals, toured the country, and have shared bills with many chart-breaking bands. Since 2014, Chalk reappeared in several Brisbane music venues, and around the same time began working on new recordings. 4 years in the making across 3 studios and with numerous guest musicians, the band's debut full-length album titled The Quiet City was finally released in August 2019. So to take us out tonight, this is beloved 90s Brisbane band Chalk with their latest release, This Is the Story, September Mix.